Watch him throw the ball. We gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through 4th and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Dive.
Yes, sir. Welcome back to another episode of Trap or Dive Podcast. I am your host of the Trap or Dive Podcast, Mual. AJ is on the way. Dre's in here right now. Yes, Moneyball, we are late, but guess who is the reason behind that?
I'm glad you saying it.
Go ahead, tell them.
Well, just so you all know, Maul's the late one today. I was here at 7 o'clock waiting. AJ was here, but then he dipped out. I don't know where he gone now, but here we are. We here now.
You kept it tame, okay, kept it PG, bro. You ain't want to bam out. I respect it. Yeah, I run a little late today. He said I had to update the stream deck. That's funny as hell. Yeah, man. I ended up walking a little, went out a little late today than normal. Anyway, as we are on the YouTube side, hey, that's funny. Hey, she look good today, bro. I like that picture she posted. Yeah.
Who's Chloe?
Yeah, Chloe Bailey, bro. She posted some picture today.
Does she always look good though?
Yeah, but she, you know what I'm saying? It's sometimes, you know, when she looking thicker than a snicker, then it's sometimes she looking like thicker than cold grits, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Check that out
today was the cold grits. You know, I'm like, yeah. I'm slicing it, but she did look good. All right, YouTube side, man, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We always appreciate that, especially the new guys, new people that's checking in on Trap or Dive. Audio side, well, we are live today on Twitter and Twitch as well. So if you're on that side, what up? Try to migrate over to the YouTube side if you can, man. Appreciate you doing so, just to help you get the subscribers and all that stuff together. But whichever way you're listening, watching, it's cool with us. Audio side, hit that follow button. Hit the button, man. Rate and review if you can as well. It takes 10 seconds to do so, and it's free to show you support that way. All right, so today is, a couple days past the loss. I'm not even gonna the loss in Dallas, and I think when you kind of come to grips, this is how I'm feeling right now. When you kind of come to grips to like the state of the team, but also knowing where they are, meaning like 10 games left. I think from a fan perspective, I can easily sit here and say, you know, things ain't looking too bright, Dre, like at all whatsoever. Like from a fan perspective, again, I can sit here. All right, my bad. I was just checking something. I can sit here and say, like, draw a conclusion, right, and how I'm feeling. But you can't do that realistically with 10 games left. I think Washington has a fighting chance to turn some things around. Now, this isn't like out of nowhere. Like, I felt this way, but it's like I gotta pause. I gotta dig deep, bro, to really bring this side out to actually. Like, what changes can be made to give these guys a chance? Or what can they do better to give these guys a chance? And not just like a blame game of a person or a coach. What can they possibly do to help this team out in the short term? This stretch of games coming up is going to be the most important of the season because of the state of the team. Dorrance, since we've last talked, is out for the season. Dakota, what? I know y'all hear her. Y'all can hear her.
I hear. I definitely.
Yeah. She running around in circles, bro, and she got her ball. Oh yeah, she about to go crazy. What can? Damn, Dakota, what the fuck? All right, so Dorrance is out for the season. That's the last thing we knew, or we didn't know his status when we did the show on Sunday. There was some other news. They brought back Jalen Holmes, I believe, because of the injury to to Dorrance. I also think because of that action, you're going to see a little bit more Jake Martin. And I'm going to stop there before I start going to different areas of the team. But I think my whole point of bringing this up is like, there's going to be some things, especially hearing Dan Quinn's presser on Monday, like they're about to really cook something up this week. I'm not sitting here saying what they're cooking up is going to work. What I'm saying is I think what we'll see against Kansas City will be their best shot defensively of trying to change things or like install these changes, whatever it is that they're going to make. Offensively, I can't really come to a conclusion yet because I don't know the status of Jaden Daniels. But if the idea of Debo and Terry practicing this week means anything for this offense, they practiced last week too. And I'm not sitting here saying that they about to play, but if it means anything for that side of the ball, Mariota or Jaden, I think you'll have some semblance of life on that side of the ball as well. And that's why I say, like, I think you'll get their best shot in terms of their adjustments, whatever it is they're going to fix this week. And we got to figure out what that is from a fan perspective, because I don't think that, they clearly haven't quit. That's their job. Like, they're not turning the season, but this next stretch of games, these immediate 3 or 4, is going to be the most important of the season because of the state of the team right now with all these injuries and uncertainty on both sides of the football.
But I think this is the first time this season that, at least for the team, some fans may have kind of changed expectations a bit a couple of weeks ago, but this is probably the first time this season that this team is kind of back to last year's mode, if they're ever going to reach anything from last year. And as far as they're playing with house money now, right? Like, the expectations have changed. Like, going into the season, Dan Quinn talked about being the hunter, always being the hunter. Because people were questioning Dan Quinn. They said, how do you change the mentality going from the hunter to going from the hunter to the hunted? You were the hunter last year. Now, we didn't handle being the hunter too well. People hunted us. So now, do you shift those expectations back as a team? Do you go back to trying to dig in, as Dan Quinn likes to say? He said that a lot in his press conference yesterday too. Dig in, dig in, dig in. Now, how do you dig in and go back to being a hunter? And if you're going to do that, now is the perfect time, because you got to feel like people are counting you out now. Like, other teams probably don't look at you like they looked at you earlier in the season. They looked at you like a serious contender at this point. I know teams aren't sleeping on you, but at the same time, they can look at you as food. Dallas saw that. Like, what did Schottenheimer say? We wouldn't play man. Although you already knew they didn't have the wide receivers to, dictate anything. So you can go in and dictate and say, I want to play just man against those guys. But they saw food. They didn't see you as a serious or big time threat offensively. So teams are looking at you a little bit differently. So how does Dan Quinn get this group to change the mentality? Because I think that at this point, that's the only thing that really changes now, Mual. I think this is the only thing that this team can really kind of dig into is a mentality change. And that goes for the offense and the defense. These dudes got to go out there and start playing with more pride. If you play with more pride, maybe that leads to better tackling. Maybe that leads to less confusion, bumping into each other and all of that. I think the mentality has to change. And that starts with the coaching staff. The coaching staff, and that goes from Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn is number one. He's head honcho. Dan Quinn has to lean in, as he likes to say. He has to lean in and get these guys to start playing for him and playing through him and bringing that Dan Quinn mentality. So if you're going to do that, now is the time, because right now the expectations are kind of low.
So I think we've always said in certain like spurts of Quinn's era, this is like the most adversities he's faced in his tenure. Like, and it's come across, it's shown itself in several different areas. I think we've seen the adversity thing in the 3-game losing streak last year. I think like the first couple of the first couple of injuries that Washington suffered at the beginning of the season was viewed as adversity. 8 weeks now, going into the 8th week of the season, like this is like undoubtedly like purely factual, unquestioned the most adversity he's really faced. Like there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I think from a mentality standpoint, I mean, Dre, I'm kind of with you. Like I'm here with you in the sense of like you got to make sure that everybody's on the same page from a team standpoint, because like the message, whatever it is clearly, it may be received, but it may be in one ear and out the other in the same breath. I don't know if it's because of all of the different additions and different type of characters that you have on this team that is causing these miscommunications or what can appear to be like hero ball. I don't know. But I also think like, because you can look at that on the defense side of the ball and say that one thing. Offensively, is like, yo, who the fuck is finna step up and make some shake on that side of the ball? I've said it for a few weeks in a row now. I don't care how people individually view Luke McCaffrey because he's had a couple catches here and there. Like, it's important to note. And I'm sorry, I'm not calling out Luke himself. I'm just more so using him to make a larger point. But Luke is one person. For example, this is a perfect example. Where I'm saying, yo, like as many splash plays as he's had recently, right? Had 3 weeks with a touchdown, consecutive weeks with a touchdown. And like his name is coming out there. He is by far very impactful on special teams. Like there's no questions about that. But when you're talking about a person on the receiving core and you're talking about the receiver depth overall, Chris Moore, Luke, Jalen, right? These are people who are averaging a catch a game. Like they're still averaging a catch a game in a sense. So what I'm saying is it don't matter how you view these people individually, like, or if you like this person from a depth standpoint, these guys from the offensive side of the ball, you're talking about like selfish players defensively. You're talking about people who just aren't on the same page defensively. You're talking about people who really aren't playing really good technically sound football defensively. Offensively, you just don't have the horses. You don't have the horses at receiver, and you don't have the horses at tight end outside of Zach. Like I can trust Zach as far as I can see him in a sense, like because his hands sometimes like they hit and miss, but he still got one of the best hands, some of the best hands on the team. You don't have the horses to provide that explosiveness that you wish you had or that you needed, and that's why you need a Terry back. That's why you need Debo back, and in the sense you need Noah back. But like that's where I'm at offensively. I just wanted to say one more thing too, because I know I'm talking a little too long. I saw somebody mention, you said that that was kind of the only thing, the mentality thing. I do think there's things you can do on defense. Somebody mentioned in the chat, where is he? Peacecraft. What's up, Peacecraft? He said start Savage, Darnell Savage. I don't think that's one of the worst things you could do. And what's unfortunate is that the longer I get to see Jeremy Reeves play, the more convinced I am that he ain't the answer either. That's all they got. Like, I'm not sitting here saying who you gonna put out there. You can try Percy Butler.
What about McGee? At linebacker we talking.
Yeah, you talking about linebacker. Hold on. We can try that. But in safety, because you need some help at safety. I seen. So I'm thinking like Percy Butler, Tyler Owens, right? Tyler Owens. But I would go Percy Butler first if you want to make this change. But Jeremy Reeves, sometimes with his depth, the communication issues on his end, whether it's his fault or not, like they pop up one too many times. There was a 3rd and 12 on the Dallas Cowboys, bro. I couldn't believe how wide open. Who they tight end again?
Jake Ferguson.
I could not believe how wide open Jake Ferguson was, bro. And I looked at this play for 1,000 times, 1,000 reps. I looked at this, I'm like, yo, how is this? Like, what's going on here? They're in a cover 3, 4x1, empty set, 11 personnel, 4 to the they were on 4 to the field side, and Jake Ferguson was split wide, tight end on the boundary. It's Trey Amos, and there's Jeremy Reeves. That's on the boundary side. And we're talking about a simple dig route. Jake Ferguson runs a great route. No disrespect to him because he did a good job, but it's his processing, right? Jeremy Reeves is the flat player in the cover 3. You got Trey Amos, and I guess his principle, because again, Jake Ferguson on the boundary in a 4x1, he's by himself. Jake Ferguson is. So he runs that dig route at 12, 13 yards. But what Jeremy Reeves does, like, it's only Jake over there. He has the flat responsibility, and he widens to the point where he's literally right in front of Trey Amos. So Trey Amos and Jeremy Reeves are stacked on one another. You know what Jake Ferguson does? He outside releases when he sees what Jeremy Reeves is doing. Okay, cuts inside, runs his dig. So essentially Trey Amos is blocked off by Jeremy Reeves, he has the man responsibility because again, he's the solo guy on the 4x1. So he's chasing Jake Ferguson, but at this point, Jake Ferguson's wide open for a 12-yard gain or for a 15-yard gain on 3rd and 12. Talking about wide the fuck open. You're trying to figure out, yo, what is he doing? Darnell Savage. Yes, thank you. I'm looking down now right now. And thank you for saying this because I put this on Twitter and I don't understand. I wish AJ was here while we're talking about it because Lord knows he's about to drive me crazy for the reach that he pulled on fucking social media trying to say that this is Quan Martin's fault. I'm like, the coverage bus starts with the wall player. They're in a Tampa 2. They send Marshawn the actual play. They send Marshawn and they send Quan Martin on the deep halves. They are the cover 2 safeties. They bring Darnell Savage down. From the 2 high, he comes down. So now it's just Quan and Marshawn has to get out. Marshawn has somebody directly in front of him, so he just stays vertically with the guy that's in front of him. Quan spot drops, and he goes to his half of the field. When he realizes that his receiver runs the outside receiver of CD, obviously, who runs the dig, he then turns back to CD, who is running a vertical route. The wall player in the middle of the field is supposed to be Darnell Savage. I was trying to figure out for a while if this was Darnell, if this was Bobby Wagner, because I wasn't sure, and I didn't want to put blame on somebody. And I'm telling you this right now, I'm like 60-40. I'm 60% sure that this is Darnell Savage's responsibility. And the reason why I say that is because he's the only one that looked confused. He's the only one that looked confused between him and Bobby. So, I'm sure Bobby knew what he was doing. Run with the seam route. Especially if this is cover 2 and you're bringing somebody down to protect the seam. Run with the seam route. Darnell sees the dig and bites on the dig and stays on the dig that leaves CD open. What I'm saying is, if you want Darnell Savage out there, that is not a good deal, because if you're asking him to play majority of the snaps at safety, how many times are you going to run into coverage bus like that? And you're asking him to handle responsibilities.
Not to stop you there, but Mual, this is a constant theme with most of the players in the secondary, right? I mean, I understand Darnell Savage made a coverage bust, but this is becoming a recurring theme with the players. How do you get to this point where you stop getting these guys? I understand that talent is an issue with this defense. Yes, we do need an infusion of talent in that defense, but a lot of these are mental errors. Like what you're describing to me sounds like a mental error. How do you get them to communicate better and get these things right?
So here's where I'm at. Because when I said there's changes that can be made, I want to be clear that I wanted to finish this one thing. If Darnell was in the right position, bro, Dak is not throwing the seam route. The result of Marshawn and Quan running into each other was because the seam route was not carried. That is the root of the problem. The highlight and the donkey moment was when they ran into each other. They don't run into each other if the seam route is carried. That's it. To your point, and what you're saying, though, Dre, I think so. The communication issues, I have no idea, bro. Like I stood 10 toes on how impressed I was with Joe Witt last year and now it looked funny in the light. But I was so impressed with Joe Witt last year when this motherfucker said, you know what I did to help improve here to see if the communication was improving. I stood on that hill 100 yards away and we ran every play intentfully. And if I couldn't hear them talking from where I was standing, we weren't doing it right. Did it again. And I'm like, you know what, bro? Because it seemed to be working. I was like, you know what, bro? Okay. But how the fuck are we a year later dealing with the same issues at a worse rate? Like, it's ridiculous. Now, granted, I want to acknowledge there are also different moving pieces in the secondary and on the defensive line, things like that. Here's what I would do, Dre. I'm blitzing the shit out of everybody moving forward. I don't know if Joe Witt is nervous to do it or not. I've noticed because last year he was one of the league leaders in sending pressure, right? That helped his pass rush that could not get home. This year, you have some more respectable pass rushers collectively. The Orange just got hurt. That's one thing to take notice of. But now you're only sending 4 or 5, right? I'm sitting here saying I'm sending 5 and 6 consistently. I'm not sitting here saying the whole game, but you got to make sure that the offense knows that you're a threat now to send the house. Now, people think about the linebackers, right? You mentioned Jordan McGee. Somebody else said I would put Jordan McGee on the field too. Like plenty of people say that. But I also think it extends to the secondary. I've been wondering, like, why don't they send any cat blitzes? Why don't they send any nickel blitzes? Why don't they send any safeties on blitzes no more? They used to at one point when Jeremy Reeves was on the field defensively, Dre, they send that nigga on the edge.
Yeah, I know.
They used to do that. Anytime that there is a corner blitz, seldomly speaking, it's always Mike Sainristil. Why is it just him? So my thing is it a creative aspect where Joe Witt doesn't like the corner blitzes or the safety blitzes, the blitzes from the third level? Or do they not trust these guys? Or let me rephrase that. Do they not think that they have a person in the secondary that's good enough to realistically affect the quarterback in terms of timing and being able to get home to the quarterback? And what I mean by that is, do they got somebody that's smart enough to hold their water right up until the snap? And do they have somebody that's fast enough to get to the quarterback? Because Sainristil, anytime he do it, he get hemmed up by the running back. He ain't getting home. But that's my question. Like, why aren't we seeing third level blitzes? But also, why are we need to start increasing the blitz rate and the frequency and the amount of people that you do send. 5 people is considered a blitz, but send 6, nigga. Send the house. That's where
What's the worst that can happen? They're gonna have a coverage bust. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, they're gonna get a touchdown.
Yes.
You know, I mean, we do that anyway, you know. But that's my whole point. Dan Quinn has talked about a lot this week. Dan Quinn says everything's on the table defensively as far as, you know, what they're going to look at, what they're going to review. Who knows what that means? I mean, I don't know if that means personnel changes. That means something different in the philosophy of what they're going into. But I mean, I ask these questions because for me, again, I go back to, I don't blame 100% of anybody. It's not 100% coaching. It's not 100% players. I think they work hand in hand. But my issue is, why do we keep seeing the same mental errors from different players? Like, it's not one player making mental errors, it's not 2 players making mental errors. These are multiple players over multiple games, multiple different positions, making mistakes. You know, I mean, I know Moneyball likes to sit up here and keep saying that, it's just a DB coach. Well, hold him accountable. You know, I mean, if that's what it takes, if it's the DB coach, hold him accountable. Look what the Falcons did when they felt like the wide receiver coach was the issue over there. They fired the wide receiver coach week 3. If that's the issue,
right before they played us, and them boys been looking right ever since.
Yeah, exactly. So if it's as simple as that, it's as simple as that. But either way, there needs to be some kind of solution. There may not be a 100% answer that you find this season. Maybe that answer is in the offseason. Maybe that answer is more talent. But it has to be something better than what you're getting right now. Because at the end of the day, these are NFL players. And you're not going to tell me that all of those players that step up and suit up on those fields are dumb players or they're not talented. Man, they may not be, as talented as other defenses out there, as a wide scale, but you can get something out of these guys. You got something out of them before. But again, we're not asking for a shutdown defense. We're not asking for top 10. I'm not even asking for top 15 at this point. I'm asking for, more consistent complementary football, less mental errors. I can accept if guys are just getting ran by. If you have a speed disadvantage, cool. That's a personnel issue. That's an Adam Peters issue. But I can't accept every game where you're watching the same mental errors over and over and over. Someone has to be held accountable, whether that's a player, whether that's a position coach. Something has to change. And hopefully Dan Quinn and them start getting to that point, because this is a crucial part in the season. This stretch right here is for the season. These next 3 games are going to determine where you end up this season, whether you're competing for a playoff spot or whether we're talking about mock drafts in 3 weeks. That's what we're talking about right now.
I want to be clear though. It's next 4. Because anybody that's counting out the Dolphins, I'm not going to do that because Tua is starting. He's the one that's familiar in Mike McDaniel's offense. They also have still a plethora of weapons. So I say that because of our defense. It don't matter if Tua some shit. Like that is an important. That is an important game as well. So this next 4 game stretch is really big.
Hey, Mark, your man, by the way.
You said what?
Ryan
where there that many mental errors?
Where that many mental errors in the game? The explosion plays are usually mental errors. A lot of them.
Yeah. I think generally speaking, like those. If you really want to count on one hand, you just have to watch the tape and like be intentful with saying like who all effed up. But like some of these plays, offensively and defensively, you can point to and say that there was enough. Like you don't have to sit here and say that there was 50. It can be 10. And what happened on those 10? Like I saw some plays that Washington avoided disaster because like pressure got home, or maybe the coverage, the pre-snap / post-snap coverage confused Dak. But niggas in the secondary got cooked, but Dak ain't see it. So that's one thing. Let's change the tenor of this conversation when we come back from Underdog Fantasy. But I think, did they mess this one up? They did. From Underdog Fantasy, once we get back from Nat Reed, we can talk about some offensive discussions. Just give me 2 seconds so we can find. My bad, y'all. I think I'm gonna just rock out with what I have. This one's 1020. It's 1020. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Here we go. Football season is in full swing, and Underdog is the best place to get on all the action. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower, such as rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and more. This week on Underdog, let me tell you where I'm at, right? I don't like how I was so hurt. Where is the jump that I had? I had Cortland Sutton and Bill Merritt on a 4-pick play, bro. Tyler Warren and Tucker Kraft were the other two. They both hit. And for whatever reason, in a 65-point game, Cortland Sutton couldn't get in the end zone. And in a game where Washington scored 22, which ain't enough, Bill couldn't get in. It hurts. But let me tell you what I got on Thursday. So we have, this should be a good game too. Minnesota. Oh no, they suck. I'm gonna do it anyway. Minnesota versus the Los Angeles Chargers. I don't think it's going to be anybody other than Carson Wentz at quarterback. And then the Chargers they're just in free fall right now. So it is what it is, right, Dre? I'm just going to do some rushing and receiving touchdowns again. I have faith. Matter of fact, let's switch it up. I'm gonna do one. Yeah, I'm gonna do one for Thursday. I'm gonna do Jordan Mason for higher on his rushing receiving touchdown. That's a 0.5. I'm gonna do Justin Jefferson, 75 and a half receiving yards. I'm going higher.
You all Vikings.
Oh, I got two more. Yeah, those are my Vikings jumps. Now we got Ladd McConkey. Where is his at? He got receptions. I'm going higher on his 5.5 receptions. I think he can get like 8 or 9 against these guys, right? And then Keenan Allen, the GOAT. I'm gonna give him. They got targets. I love the targets thing, but I never play it. And in this game, I'm not gonna play it again. I'm gonna do receptions. He's at 5.5 as well, so I'm gonna go higher on his. So Keenan Allen, 5.5 receptions. Ladd McConkey, higher than 5.5 receptions. We're gonna go Justin Jefferson, higher on receiving yards, 75.5, and we're gonna do Jordan Mason, higher on his touchdowns, 0.5. Download the app today. Sign up with promo code TRIBEDOW to score $100 in bonus funds or entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code TRIBEDOW. Underdog. Make picks. Win money.
18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
All right, man. Offensively, let's talk about something I said I didn't want to talk about Sunday because we was too focused on the ass whooping that just happened, right? I feel like we can have it on this show. I don't know about any other show or even on social media, but Jaden Daniels, I don't want to make a big deal out of it right now, and I will preface this by saying, actually, I'm gonna just ask the question. I don't want to sugarcoat shit. It's just a question. Are you concerned at all with his injury rate? For context, he's been injured 5 times. I'm rephrase it. He injured 2 times in his first 5 games of the season. Last year he was injured. The Panthers game, got hurt with the ribs, came back the following week, but he ultimately missed a game. Like, where are you at with? I want to be clear for those that's listening. His injury rate, the frequency in which he gets hurt. Is that something that bothers you, or is this, it is what it is?
I'll say it's a fair question, but if I'm concerned, no, I am not concerned. And I say that because I'm looking at Jaden's overall history with injuries. I mean, dating back to college, he played 55 games in college. I mean, people kind of like to toss around the RG3 name, which you shouldn't do with Jaden, but people forget RG3 had like 2 major surgeries in college. Like he had brittle knees in a sense before he even came to the NFL. Jaden it's just a fluky year. Like, until I see it on a consistent basis yearly, I'm not going to say that I'm concerned that he's always going to be injured. This is just maybe one of those years where he's dealing with these little ticky-tack injuries. I mean, and it's not like he's just out there, waking up and getting hurt, or, he's in practice suffering injuries. I mean, he's actually getting bent and pulled. And I mean, anyone can suffer those injuries. When I think about an injury rate and someone who concerns me, I think about somebody with a bigger frame than him, and that's Anthony Richardson. Like, Anthony Richardson is a dude that I would think about when I talk about injury prone. And people kind of use Jaden's frame. They like to use that excuse, the frame is, why he can't stay healthy. No, that doesn't mean anything, because Anthony Richardson is built like a tank, but he always stays hurt.
Yeah.
Like, a guy that gets injured a lot. Now, until I see it on a yearly basis with Jaden, I mean, last year's he missed one game.
Well, I'm about to say, Dre, it's been a year. It's a yearly basis. I just want to make sure in terms of your point.
But see, and the thing is, I kind of expect injuries to any NFL player throughout any season. It's a factor of whether you could play through them or not. Jaden was able to play through his last year. Now, this year, he wasn't able to play through the sprain knee. That's a little different. You want to be cautious. Now, listening to Dan Quinn and them, they claim he could have played if the games meant a little bit more when he missed a couple of those games. I mean, I don't know how much I believe that.
I thought you were talking about that. I thought you about the hamstring jump from today.
Oh, no, I'm talking about the knee. I don't even know what's the deal with the hamstring as far as if he's going to play or not. But no, it has to be a consistent thing for me. I'm going off his history. I mean, I'm talking about back to college. And the guy hasn't really been injury prone. And I also think that if it was up to him, he would play through these injuries. But I think the team has been a little bit more cautious than Jaden is, which is understandable. They want to protect their investment. But no, I'm not concerned at the injury rate, but it is a fair question, I'll say.
What's going on, everybody in the chat? Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you are just checking in. AJ just pulled up. And before I hand it over to AJ and get his thoughts on this one, Moneyball said, oh no, let me scroll up a little bit more. Off to another world said yes. Monty said no. Moneyball says, wow, really, this is like the junkie show right now. As always,
hold on, Mo. For somebody who always talk about somebody get their opinions from DC radio, he listened to more DC radio than anybody I know. Because I didn't even know the Junkies played this. I don't listen to those dudes, so I didn't know they played this Moneyball. But thank you for letting us.
I hope you seen that middle finger. I meant it, motherfucker. Fuad, what's up, Fuad? Said, I hope I said your name right.
It probably sounds like the Junkie Show because they be stealing our content and then going on the radio and trying to talk about it. So it might sound like the Junkies.
Maybe. It's after them forever. It's a valid question, especially since there is a chance he overcompensates in either leg if he doesn't miss any games. It's so crazy too, because he hurt the knee in one, hurt the hammy in the other. that's just crazy. Said off to another world. Said lower leg injuries play on his superpower. He seems slower to me. Injury rate is scary. He got hammered in college too. Jay Tizzy said doesn't bother me. JD has only missed 2 games. And Jay Tizzy said one more. His injuries are mostly soft issue, not from hard hits. If it was being concussed or broken bones, that's different. Well, I mean, you got to think like soft tissue injuries are something that. Also, this is one thing. I'm sorry, because Jay Tizzy just. Soft tissue injuries. I mean, injuries happen. Like you can't one person can get hurt more often than the next person, right? Like they aren't comparable. But I also want to be clear. Like somebody online I was talking to about this, like said that people are like start going to a blame game. I'm like, yo, who the fuck would blame anybody in this instance? Like the only people that are to blame are the decision makers. For example, you knew who Noah Brown was before you signed him here last year. It's not his fault that he keeps getting hurt. This is just the person he is. You bet on him to be a number 2 guy last year. You brought him back to be a number 3 guy this year. What has he done? He's only gotten hurt last year and this year. It is who he is. And that's just an example. But there's also other people, again, Dorrance Armstrong. He doesn't get hurt. He got hurt this year. He's out for the season now. And now Jaden Daniels, same thing. Like some people just, especially in his situation, Jaden, he got hurt in college. He just played through him. He had a concussion. He had a couple concussions. He didn't miss that much time. And in NFL, like some people can get hurt on the next level too, and it could be just a thing for them the rest of their career. So I'm not putting that on Jaden. I'm just saying I do think like whether they're soft tissue or like broken bones or anything, like I do think it's a fair question. I'm not concerned. It's something that just comes and goes with certain players, and you got to live with it. How do you maximize the 12 games a year you get with this person? That's kind of where I'm at with Jaden. If we're at a point, or if we're going to look at a future where we get like 12 to 13 games of Jaden Daniels a year, all right, well, are we fucking 10-3 or 10-4, or are we 9-2? Like, what is our record when we have Jaden in the game? All right, AJ, I think you kind of understand what the question is.
Yeah, no, I definitely get it. I think that it's not valid. I think when you look around the NFL, especially at the quarterback position, name a quarterback that hasn't been hurt. You feel me? Whether it be
Wait, no. So you don't think the question itself is?
no, I think that
I think
people.
your answer is actually saying that it's valid, but like it's not
No,
uncommon.
no. The only reason why it's being talked about is because of RG3, bro. Like another black quarterback is in the mix, someone that's athletic. People are so scared. But around the league, Baker Mayfield, Michael Penix, Bryce Young, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, like the list goes on and on. Every single quarterback has been hurt at some point of a season. And Patrick Mahomes, bro. Like Patrick Mahomes be having weird little injuries. It's just all about how the team decides to manage it. Like that's really what it boils down to. Like we're not talking about someone that's been concussed like a Tua Tagovailoa, but that's another guy that has missed games. You feel me? So it's just like every quarterback has experienced some type of missing a game or whatever the case is. Like, so it doesn't concern me. I think it only bothers people because, like I said, the whole RG3 thing. That's why even Jaden's mom came out and said, you know, stop trying to put my son in the mix with RG3. Like, that's really what this topic even is about. Like, I mean, you missed 2 games in your career so far. Like Young Thug said, whoop-de-doo.
Really?
3 games, whoop-de-doo. You feel me? Like, it just doesn't matter that much to me. I think that people have to understand football is a violent game. At the end of the day, players are going to get hurt. That's why you have such a huge roster in comparison to any other professional sport that is out there in the world. Like, it's known that you're going to get hurt. So in that essence, you should be prepared to maybe play a backup. Like whether it be at quarterback, running back, defensive end, like these things happen. Unfortunately, I just think that, you know, Jaden is who he is. Just hope that he don't get concussed and any of those other things. But it's not a special situation. It's not like he's out here just having these fluky ass injuries and missing 6-8 games. It's just a situation that, you know, took place in the pocket. And all you got to do is just hope and pray for health each and every game. That's it.
Well, I do want to be clear. Like, I actually think that, like, what you're saying holds a lot of weight from, well, I don't pay attention to, like, I honestly I didn't see, only thing I ever saw on social media, like, this past week was her, I don't even know her name. What's her name, bro?
Regina.
Like, only thing I ever seen was her making the tweet. I know what that means because I've done things like that where, like, I seen it on my timeline, and like people can, you know, you can say something and you're like, yo, where this come from? But like, you seen it. So I want to be clear that, like, the conversation, I didn't even want to bring his name up, bro. Like, respectfully, it's no point in us even talking about that. But like, I think that aspect of it all does hold weight because it is a conversation based in PTSD. Commanders fan, Redskins fans, PTSD. Like, that holds weight. And I think that's fair. I also think what's valid with what you're saying 100% is the nature of the sport. There are also other quarterbacks out here who gets hurt, right? And their rate of injury, you know, to this point in their career is probably higher than Jaden's. But I also think the one thing that's important, and that's another thing when I think about this, because it's a tricky topic. I saw somebody in here mention Joe Burrow. So we don't have to make this whole thing a conversation. This is the last thing I'll say about it. Yeah. I think that when you look at certain players, right, and you see the injuries, whatever level of severity they are. Somebody mentioned that that Patty's the ankle sprain king. Like, that's a fact. And he finds a way to play through them sometimes, right? More times than not. I just think sometimes you have to understand the type of player that you're getting, or if there is a pattern that's being established, right? Like, and it's too early to tell with Jaden, but I think the frequency is the reason for the question. Is it fluke or not? Cool. That's something for somebody else to determine. Soft tissue injuries, like Jay says, he mentioned, like this is what's going on to an extent. Like that was the hamstring. That's one thing. The knee is structural. He broke his ribs last year. That's not a soft tissue injury. He broke his ribs. So like I think when you think about the nature of his injuries, there are different varieties. What people gotta understand is at this point, we've identified our future quarterback, and whether or not the injuries are a concern to you, the injury, if he gets hurt, this is just the type of player that you have to live with moving forward, because he is going to be the person that if you make it to a championship, he's going to be the reason behind it. And you have to maximize every game that you can with him on the field. It also extends to the actual offense. I don't know if y'all had any last thoughts on that, but as I transition to the offense, y'all can. But my question for the offense is, what are your real thoughts on, like, if this receiver unit, honestly, at this point, what are your real thoughts about this offense? Because the run game in these last 2 weeks has been concerning. I think Chicago started the trend of stacking the box. I told you all going into the Dallas game, these motherfuckers, a team who plays primarily zone, they're going to challenge the shit out of us, and they did that. So I guess my real question is, heading into the Kansas City Chiefs game, it's another team who actually does just play man coverage. They don't fucking play zone. They play man. What is your true thoughts behind the offense now, especially with 2 weeks now where they aren't really getting shit going on the ground game?
I think Cliff is having an interesting time trying to transition his offense because he doesn't have all the horses, as we talked about with the wide receivers. And as we know, Cliff loves to throw the ball. Like that's his identity. That's what he's made his money off of. That's where he's made his bones at. But you don't really have any threats in the passing game right now. I understand you still have to pass the ball, and I understand teams are stacking the box, but I wish Cliff would kind of devise and develop a game plan that says, okay, you're going to stack the box. I'm still going to run it against you, but I'm going to get creative with my runs. I'm not just going to run up through between the tackles, which I saw a lot of in that game. I'm going to hit you with the perimeter. We didn't even do any of the jet sweep stuff, any of the interesting stuff that Cliff likes to do. And I thought you can kind of do that with a Luke McCaffrey because he's good with the ball in his hands. What about a Jalen Lane? Get him the ball in his hands creatively in that sense. I know you didn't have a Debo out there. You like to run some of that gadget stuff with Debo, but I want to see Cliff get a little bit more creative, especially, like I said, when you're missing a lot in the pass game. And I want to talk about Jaden a little bit. People keep saying that, he didn't play good, he didn't play well, but I thought Jaden did well for what he had out there. Sure, he missed a couple of throws, but I still think Jaden's working his way back and getting, comfortable. He still has the knee brace, so I don't know how much that affects him as far as how he can move and everything. But Jaden, for the most part, I thought he handled not having his top three wide receivers out there on the football field. I thought he handled that pretty well. He was distributing the ball. Of course, there's some throws I like to see him have back. But going back to Cliff, I do want to see him establish that run game going forward because teams are going to do this. I don't know when Terry comes back. I don't know when Debo comes back. They'll come back when they come back. I don't really talk about the players that's not here. You got to talk about what you have right now, and what you have is what you have. And I think with the personnel, Cliff has to adjust to that personnel. And I still go back to that Raiders game. The Raiders game, sure, you're playing an awful opponent, but that was the only game I really seen Cliff go into this season where he dictated what he wanted to do to a defense. And that was the tone for the game. That first drive against the Raiders game is still probably the best drive you've seen all season as far as dictating what you wanted to do. They just ran the ball down the Raiders' throats that whole drive. They did what they wanted to do. Now it's like, I'll run one time, and if we get 1 yard, I'm going back to the pass. Some drives you may not even see a run at all. So I want to see Cliff kind of getting to that running bag and not being scared to call the run, not being scared to dictate that, because I do think that even when you're missing your receiving targets, your top three receiving targets, if you can get anything established on that ground, that everything is going to be easier for the rest of the offense. And this was a team at one point that was the number one rushing offense in the league. So you got to kind of get back to that. And I think Cliff has to kind of humble himself a little bit. And I know you may not have all the weapons you want to have at this point, but you have to adjust. Just like I questioned the coaches on the other side of the football, Cliff, you have to adjust to your personnel, what you have right now.
Yeah, I think I don't know. So far, I would have to look. I ain't really did too much digging, but I got to get his tendencies, Cliff's tendencies together. Like his run versus pass, like when is he doing it, type of thing. But Kansas City, and I'm thinking like immediate future. Kansas City is on the verge like of their resurgence of the season. They started off terribly. I think they was 1-3 to start the season, and so now they've won 3 in a row. I'm double checking here. I know they're 4-3. I know what their record is, but they started off 0-2 to 2-2 to 2-3. So okay, so now they're 4-3. They won 2 straight. They took care of Detroit, handled Detroit, then obviously blanked the Raiders. I think like they're in the midst of their resurgence, and I actually hate this because I call this year to be the downfall of Kansas City. Not like the downfall in literal sense, like you got Pat Mahomes, you're not going to suck. But I think that the Denver Broncos had a really good shot at winning the division this year. And they're still number 1, but they ain't played that KC team yet. But again, and my point, because I just started straying away, the run game in itself is like, you got to find different ways to get into a run fit. Like, can you go 4 wide and, have a single back look? They love pistol. How many can you like go full house? Can you I think the misdirection is fine, but you got to find a way to clear out that box. And I think that's the most important thing moving forward if you don't have Debo and if you don't have Terry. I saw somebody in the chat said, hey, Caprica, I'm going to let you know that. I'm going to let you know right now. It ain't about who they got back there. Whether or not you right or wrong, that coordinator and that defense overall just straps. And we talking about, again, a wide receiving core who is not explosive at all. We don't have any playmakers outside of Debo. I acknowledge him. But you don't see nobody stretching the field over here. And I think that's kind of the overall aspect. Like, nobody's threatening these DBs. Nobody's threatening that secondary. Who's going to take somebody out of the box? And while they may try to pay respect to Terry, you got to remember, like, Terry demanded roll coverage but he wasn't really demanding like true double teams, right? Like, I think that's important because if you're not taking people out of the box, what's going to stop them from having 6 or 7 man boxes on early downs? And I don't know what that's going to look like moving forward or like the immediate future. But I think that's kind of like the important thing for Cliff to focus on is how do I take advantage of, my personnel, but also like how can I get people out of that box? Or if they're going to crowd the box, what is the best way to exploit their clear, what's the word? Determination to stop the run. I couldn't think of the word, but like they're so focused on stopping the run and forcing the ball into the quarterback's hands, whether it's Marcus or Jaden. How do I take advantage of that aspect? How do I counter this? And I mean, that's kind of like the biggest thing for me, bro. Like that's where things start to like mull over here. Because I don't see the pass game getting any better right now. Even if Terry comes back, like I still like he's missed so much time, bro. Like, what you expect Terry to do in his first game back? Like, I don't expect that. I don't expect him to do much.
I mean, I'm not saying he shouldn't. He was fully healthy.
Yeah, he was.
And somebody said you was wrong, AJ. They said you are real quiet right now, and that we don't miss Terry McLaurin. Somebody said that in the chat.
Yeah, I'm real quiet because I'm over here multitasking. That's why.
Bro, what are you doing, bro?
Bro, I'm moving stuff out of a storage with my brother that came in town from Georgia.
Bro, you might as well go handle business, bro. About to get up out of here anyway. Like, you got your You came in for the Jaden conversation, bro.
Can we talk about one thing before we get out of here? And this is a topic that's actually been kind of hot today. I mean, we can be quick with this, but
tell me, because I ain't been logged in.
No, and this is something that people they want to know. I mean, I seen it. My boy KMB more skins. He brought it up on X today.
Oh my God, I know what you're talking about. The one thing that I did see.
But
all right, come on.
And that's what I just want to know. Like, he wants to know, when is it fair to stop talking about what Ron Rivera left this roster and kind of start pinning things on Adam Peters? Me personally, I'll answer first. I don't think it's fair to, and I said this even when Scott McCloughan was here, when he only did 2 years. I don't really think it's fair to judge a GM in 2 years because you don't even know what players are in 2 years. And I think Adam Peters, what he's done in 2 years, he's done what most NFL GMs have done, or they do in their tenure. They have hits and misses, but we're only exaggerating our misses right now because of the timeline that people, of the accelerated timeline that we appear to be on. We went to the conference championship game last year. Now people want to stay that course. So anything you miss on is going to be put under a microscope at this point, whether that's fair or not to Adam Peters. But no one wants to really talk about the hits, or no one wants to talk about the fact that you really can't even kind of determine or hit or miss, for some of these guys at this point. I mean, yeah, sure. Some of these guys you can look at and say, yeah, they may not be it. But guys like Mikey Sainristil, he went out there, he had an impact last year. For whatever reason, it's not working out this year. Like, he's just not having a good season. Does that mean Mikey's a bad player? No. We have a good year of Mikey, and we have a we don't know year with Mikey. Like, what is he doing this year? I don't think that determines him as a player. Johnny Newton, I think the jury's still out there. I mean, and we can kind of go down a list of those guys with Adam Peters, but I just don't think it's fair to judge a guy in 2 years. But I do think that Ron Rivera has set this franchise back years. When you miss on 4 straight first-round picks, that sets the franchise back, and you have to make up for that. Like, one of the debates I was in all day was, going forward, what do you prioritize? I still see fans saying, we still need a high-priority receiver. We need a high-target receiver, which, don't get me wrong, I would love a young stud wide receiver. But this defense has so many issues right now that's what I want to prioritize right now, because you need to be able to get to a point of football, and you just can't expect a team to do that in 2 years. And I think it's unfair to judge a GM in 2 years. I think at least by year 3 is when you start to say, okay, this guy either has a stamp on his roster or he doesn't. And that's when you could kind of start going over the list of what he's done and what he hasn't done. And I still think you got to give him a little bit more time.
Hey, Jerry, I just want you to know that this was borderline, if not identified as off-season discussion. I just want you to know that.
It can be talked about now, though. Because people talk about now he's making all these mistakes.
We are in week 8, and we are talking about what has to happen in the offseason. Granted, I don't think, like, the conversation itself is definitely something that needs to be had. And my answer right now, it's just a matter of time, bro. I think it's just a matter of time till Adam Peters has to pick a side. Like, whether you're all in on the retool and rebuild, or you want to keep the ship afloat. And he's done that 2 years. The first year it worked out for him. The second year it's come back to bite him. The older players look old. And like the youth infusion in terms of like what you're bringing in through the draft, some are good, but like in some critical positions, such as interior offensive line or tackle, right? Brandon Coleman, for example, Johnny Newton. I don't think Johnny Newton is good. Let's go ahead and keep this pushing. I don't think Johnny Newton's playing bad, but like, he's being overshadowed because he's not getting that much. He's not viewed as a starter. He's not an impactful player, right? But he's a second-round pick. Trey Amos is around. He's starting, right? So, like, there's a mix. And I think it's certain positions that's important. Like, where are you hitting and where are you missing? Luke McCaffrey is not an impact. Offensively, he's not an impactful player, right? But you kept him alongside Terry going into the season. Just 2 people. They obviously re-signed Noah. And then it got on Debo, but that's kind of where I'm at. Like, with him, like, you gotta pick and choose. Like, if we want to go all in on the youth side and actually like building this team from the ground up and like taking these lumps in certain areas, let's do that. And I'm not saying you have to go all young. Like you can still bring in some veterans. That's important. You need some of that. You need these leadership guys. But I think that's kind of where the mix is. And I think that's probably where people's source of frustration is like when you have these older guys, like they better work out. Like think about the sentiments behind like Zach Ertz last year, Austin Eckler last year, before they played.
Bobby Wagner.
Like, yo, Bobby Wagner. We signed these old ass motherfuckers. Like what they felt last year is what we're seeing this year.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what like is important. Like you gotta hit on the older guys, but you also like with your draft picks, you gotta make sure that certain positions, especially where positions of need for a long time because of the previous regime, they gotta hit. I think they did a really good job with Dorrance Armstrong. I like Javon Kinlaw, and I liked Dietrich Wise. It's like I think that they here and there they make the right decisions. So it's a give and take with Adam Peters. And I agree with you, Dre. Like he's been hit and miss, but like the hits are good. The misses are like, damn, we needed that position. And I'm not saying that's a detriment on Adam Peters. I'm saying you have to keep digging. You have to keep looking for these pieces. Anybody that's saying that he's doing a terrible job is overreacting. But I do think we can question his draft decisions, but that's off season. And that's
which is fun. And the reason why, the only reason I brought the question up is because when you start to have this tough stretch that you're having, the first thing people are going to do is they're going to look at who devised all of this, who's the root of the problem. And, you know, you start with the players, then you go to the coaches. Next thing you do is you start going into the designers, the architects, the Adam Peters. So that's what a lot of people have been doing. They want answers. And that's the only reason I brought this up. And I agree with you, Mual. Like, I mean, you know, it's fair to question the misses, but I think what this fan base is doing right now is they're exaggerating the misses because they expect this team to still be that conference championship team. And if they're not that conference championship team, the first thing they're going to do is look at what did Adam Peters do? He didn't do enough to keep us at this level when in reality, we're still in year 2. But again, it's fair to question him, but how far do you ding him for what he hasn't hit on? That's just my own point.
Yeah. Let's close out with the thoughts from the chat. Again, shout out to everybody that's been active. Appreciate y'all in the conversation. Capric, I'm not sure if you are new or not, but I'm just saying what's up to you. But my first time really saying your name. So appreciate you checking in. What is everybody saying? If only 2 of Ron's first round picks panned out, it would have made a huge difference. Christian Gonzalez won, and even the receiver won. We went Jahan Dotson, could have went Chris Olave. Who knows? Maybe he wouldn't get so hurt.
Jackson Smith and Jigba after Forbes, like those are things, you know.
Moneyball. Mikey was always suspect, even in the slot last year. Y'all just ignored it because of team success, and he was moved to the outside. Well, Mikey was only slot for like a week or two, and then they had to move him outside. So, I know y'all. You're probably just talking about. He probably talking about us. I was about to give him.
You know.
Yeah, I'm about to say he's talking about us. Like I don't think anybody was unfamiliar with Mikey's success last year. When will Meter start asking if owner has? Jay Tizzy, because the cupboard was bare, we had to sign 1-year contracts both seasons. Most of AP's draft picks were players to build depth, not to be frontline starters other than 5-0 on 72. Monty said, yeah, but giving up 3 draft picks for trash ass corner, set the franchise back. That's what I mean with the gambles, with the picks. Like you gotta be, when you make certain decisions, you gotta be sure, bruh. Like that's a big deal, Monty. And when you bet on Marshawn, you gotta be right. I told y'all behind the scenes, Dre, and now that we 8 weeks in, I was like, bruh, I don't give a fuck if he was hurt or not. He looked like some shit.
You said that. You did.
I gotta see what I don't care what anybody talking about. And look, I'm gonna leave it there. I ain't gonna say no more about that. AP's 2 drafts, and we barely seen any elite players. It's been fair to criticize him. He gets no credit for drafting JD. Moneyball should not be the third. No, you don't. We had a calling opportunity.
I know. Yes.
And where have you been? No,
we had a call in last Thursday, Moneyball, and you were nowhere to be found, brother. Nowhere to be found.
Peters took a gamble and it wasn't the right one. Exactly. That's literally, it's the process. Like understand the process. That's what I did with the last regime. That's what I do with every regime. If I understand your process, all right, I'll hold you to what you're thinking and how you're moving. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But like, are you gonna hold yourself accountable too? That last motherfucker did not hold himself accountable, and that's what really pissed everybody off. This team had needs in depth. Most of the draft picks were, I don't know. I don't think about it. Most of the draft picks were drafted to be depth players. I respect the con. I don't know if I agree with that. I think they had some contributions or they expected more. Season not over, 10 games left. Should have never traded. Oh, Lord. See, now, I'm not reading no more quotes from you, Moneyball. On to another world. The injuries are overshadowing the free agency pickups. Free agents were needed to develop picks. We could afford a rebuild, but with the injuries, we've been forced into. Okay.
When is Forbes? Forbes is some shit.
I mean, he's starting with the Rams, so I guess that's him getting it off his chest. I don't know. All right. Hey, what's up, Bowie? Appreciate you checking in. That's gonna wrap it up for us. The fellas are done today. We have an announcement soon too. I don't want to put it out there just yet, but if you were not able to make the first home rally, there's another one soon, and wait until you find out who's gonna be out there. All right, so just understand that. Hyde Social, November 1st. So yeah, man, stay tuned. If you're in the area, or if you are in the area for that week because of the home game, another event, Hyde Social, that Saturday before. So that's November 1st. We'll be back out there. So yeah, keep that in mind. In terms of the guests and things of that nature, we will be announcing that soon.
Yes.
All right, we'll be back on
Moneyball. Go look at.
I don't do it, bro.
Go look at his rating for the season. Since I don't watch the league, I'm gonna let you do it. Go look at his rating against his passer rating against. He is Moneyball. You a liar, bro. You are a liar, and I'm not gonna let you lie on this show like that, dog.
Hey, bro. All right, that's gonna wrap it up for us. Look, I told you, just put the middle fingers up at Moneyball. Just do it. Put a middle finger up, bro. Just do it. Do it for you.
I can't help it, man. He be saying shit and I can't say anything. Like, he be killing me.
Hey, CP is out there, but we got more people on the way. All right, that's gonna wrap it up for us. We'll be back on Thursday. All 32 is out tomorrow. I'm sorry, it's gonna be out tomorrow as well. So until next time, man, take it easy. All the good stuff. Get out of here. Peace.
Chop it down. Chop it down. Chop it down. You gon' chop it down. Chop it down. You gon' chop it down. Damn, set. Watch you throw the ball. We gon' pick it up. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through fourth and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Dive.